He really enjoys math. That's his favorite. He likes to see how big of a math problem he can do. He don't like to
always right it all down. You thought it was pretty good. Good left to work. Great. And then what's the real deal?
Social studies teacher. Knox is old guy. I don't want to struggle with social studies.
That was all, that was part of the education.
Casey said, no, this is United States, so he was appreciative. That was 7th grade last year, but this year, all Europe and Asia. But this year, United States.
You know, that's what they did. That's towards it.
That's what they said, we have America, centralized things that affect you.
Yeah.
I was lost in Asia. I was trying to get Terry a couple minutes.
Yeah, he's always like.
Yeah, and so he's, like the whole way that he was like, yeah, we stop giving you a biscuit. Nope, we get up and eat, you know. Yeah. And so, nope, I got up and packed my lunch. So by my flight, he was just dragging his tail, and the next morning he was like, you going to work, you going to school? I'm going to school.
Change attitude.
He had to pick it up right on top of that right, he had to do it.
Yep.
Mike, I probably need to get with you tomorrow on the Commerce contract.
Okay.
Meeting today, just see where we're at. We just talked about it.
Just give me your feedback from Commerce.
I don't think I ever sent it to him, did I?
Oh, we did? Yeah.
I think you did send it to me now that you said that.
Yeah.
Just give me a brief piece, so I can give it on 2 weeks. It's all right. You ain't got no carries. Can't do them carries.
Probably. Somewhere.
Brand Carey raced cars, and he was always the last person to show up at the race. We always told him that he brought the green flag with him. It wouldn't start till he got there. All right, welcome to the Madison County Board of Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session. Public meeting, August 4th, 2025 at 6:04 p.m. And we will start off with the chairman's report, and I will be brief. Since we just had a meeting last Monday, I don't have very many updates, but the most important update I have is school starts back Wednesday the 6th. For the love of everything holy, please be patient. First day of school. Take safety in the #1 consideration when you're driving. We know traffic is going to be a little bit hectic. It always is for the first few days of school. But our kids is out there and our bus drivers is out there, and a lot of the school employees are out on the sides of the road. And I just ask everybody in the county to please use caution. Please be prepared. Please leave with a little bit of a cushion to get to work. Don't be running late. Don't be speeding. We will have deputies throughout the county to make sure you do not. Lastly, the only thing I have in Chairman's report update is I probably shouldn't go down this rabbit hole, but I will. It's concerning the internet and roads. People like to get on Facebook and really drag a lot of our employees down in the mud on things that they have nothing to do with, just to be talking. If you've got a friend, a neighbor, a kinfolk, or anybody else that you know of that goes on Facebook and blasts our county or county employees due to the workmanship or craftsmanship of the contracts that we put out, I would ask you to reach out to that person and tell them to refrain from those comments. If you look around our county and the roads in our county, and I would beg you, implore you to ride to any other county around us and tell us the roads are not better than ours. We spend a lot of money and a lot of time and hire a lot of professionals to have very good roads, and we're very lucky to have that. But, this negativity's gotta stop. We do the best we can. We could do a lot better if you want me to raise your taxes. I try not to, but we do a lot with what we can, with the money we do have. So be appreciative, you know. I wanna go into this school year and the rest of this coming year being appreciative for other people, what we do for you. And it's not, I'm not trying to talk down to nobody, but our employees work really hard. They really do. And I'd like for some point in time, just tell them thank you for what they do. With that being said, I'll move on to business involving guest groups, multiple visitors. Georgia Ag Land Trust Incorporated, Ms. Denise Perry, Executive Director. Welcome, young lady.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm sort of on the other side of the state. I'm from Carroll County. We're a little bit bigger than Madison County, but we have a lot of things in common, which is really quite nice. We're bookends to Atlanta, though, and that's difficult sometimes. One of the things I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight is the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program. I understand one of you is a little familiar with this already, but what I first want to talk about is why. Why do we need to start protecting our ag land? The American Farmland Trust started a study, and they wanted to look at the country's farmland to see what was happening with it. They looked at the years 2011 to 2016, and what they discovered was farmland was disappearing at a rapid clip. In that time frame, 11 million acres of agricultural land was converted to non-ag uses. Places grow, more people move in, but we all have to eat. And our ag land provides food for us, it provides fiber, that provides clothes, roofs over our head, and it grows feed for the animals that also sustain us. During COVID, the second phase of the study came out, and it was called Farmland Under Threat, the State of the States, where they started to pinpoint regions of the country that were really starting to lose their farmland, and they looked by state. In 2020, Georgia was 5th in the nation for farmland loss. 2 years later, it moved up to the number 4 spot. Everybody wants to be in Georgia. Unfortunately, we can't sustain that and keep our ag economy thriving, and that is our number 1 economy in the state of Georgia. I took a look at Madison County, and I did provide that for you guys, and there's a lot of stuff in your packet, and I know it's going to be a little overwhelming, and this is just meant to start the conversation, just to whet your appetite a little bit. But if you look at Madison County, they did 3 different scenarios. Business as usual, going along just as you're going along now. By 2040, you are estimated to lose 8,200 acres in viable farmland. Now, if you have runaway sprawl, which we see in some counties closer into Atlanta, close to us, Douglas County is a really good example, you can lose 11,200 acres by 2040. But with better built cities, which is really your wise and healthy planning, proper zoning, you could technically maybe only lose 4,700 acres. Even that's a lot to me. I'd like to see us not lose any. I also took a look at Madison County's Census of Agriculture, and we're seeing this around the state. The last study came out in 2020. These studies are done every 5 years. And in 2020 or 2022, your numbers are very similar to Carroll County. You saw increases. You saw increases in the number of farms. We actually saw a little bit of a decrease, but our land and farms went up. So that just told us farm operations combined and maybe some land that was fallow. The previous census is now being worked. Your average farm size went up to 108 acres. Ours went up as well from 98 to 114. Those are all good things, but that was 2022. And the reason I want to stress that is last year, for example, in Carroll County, one housing developer bought 700 ag acres in 6 months. Our numbers at the next ag census are going to look very different from what they look now. Unfortunately, the studies, they're very detailed and they come out a little later. But one thing that is remarkable about Madison County is your market value of products sold went up 68%. That's amazing. So y'all are doing a good job. And statewide, we're seeing this same thing. We're seeing these numbers kind of go up, but we know that in the 3 years since this study, there have been massive changes, and we're going to see it reflected in the next census. Not soon enough, really. But Carroll County, back in 2003, was one of the fastest growing counties in the country. We were also faced with a 10,000-acre potential development along the Chattahoochee River. The recession might not have been a wonderful thing for some people, but it really did help Carroll County in that it stopped that 10,000 acres being lost to housing and multi-use that was not agriculture. But Carroll County, under the leadership of Robert Barr, found out about a federal program. At that time, it was called FRPP, Farm and Ranch Land Protection Plan. And this was a matching program where the federal government under the USDA, and this money is all in the Farm Bill, would help farmers put their land into conservation, permanent conservation, so it would stay in agricultural use forever and ever. And they started to take a look at this program and said, oh, we think we might like to do this. At the same time, Carroll County was entering into their first SPLOST. So they wrote into their SPLOST language farmland preservation. And it passed unanimously and has passed every SPLOST renewal since then. So the citizens of the county have decided they want to help protect farmland. To date, the county has protected 12 farms and over 2,000 acres. We closed on our 13th farm this year, and we're getting ready to submit another 150-acre farm for the 2026 fiscal year. The county has contributed a little over $2 million to this program. The federal government has put in over $4 million. That's a lot of chunk of money coming in. Now, Carroll County was the first county in the state to do this program. Since then, Oconee County has joined. Last year, Morgan County decided to join. So even though this is technically a competitive program, we're urging more counties to get involved in the program because the federal government likes to see interest. And the more counties that we have interested in this program, the more federal dollars come into the state. That's pretty much how it always works with any kind of federal program. The money goes where people are the most interested. Last year, Carroll County created an Ag Advisory Committee, the first of its kind in the state of Georgia. We tailored it after the state level committee that was created recently as well. And this committee's job is to oversee this program, plus work on zoning issues in the ag community, just be the voice of the ag community. We've never had a group appointed by commissioners that spoke for the ag community. So that has been a wonderful committee, and they are doing some really great things that are way beyond my expectations. But I want to get into a little bit about the program, and I'm going to give you the 1,000-mile view because it is very detailed and it can be somewhat complicated at first. But how this program works is you fill out the forms and say, okay, we want to join this program. You go through Athens NRCS head office for the state of Georgia, and you say, okay, we want to do this program. Now, how much the county wants to provide in some matching funds is entirely up to the county. Carroll County does what we call a 25% match. The federal government puts in $50,000, and so you're asking 25% of what? 50,000% of what? So what happens is you have a farmer that comes to you and they says, I want to do this program. So there are some hoops to jump through because it's federal. There's a lot of forms to fill out. But the key piece of information that they need is an appraisal. And this is a very specialized appraisal. Not every appraiser can do this kind of appraisal. We're very fortunate in the state of Georgia to have a top-notch person in this area who has a very good relationship with the IRS because conservation easements are controlled by IRS law. So this appraisal takes a look at that farm and says, what is the highest and best use? Of course, it's always development. And he puts a price on that as development per acre. Then he steps back and he looks at it again as conserved property. This is known as encumbered property because you are removing the development rights from the property. And that number is significantly lower. The difference between those two numbers becomes the value of the conservation easement. And that's the dollar amount that the county and the federal government are looking at. And they actually provide to that farmer money at closing to buy their development rights. So it can be, depending on the amount of land, it can be a significant number. We have had some farms that received, or their value was over $1 million. And the federal government paid 50% of that, and the county paid 25% of that. So that's kind of how that works. So you don't have to put in 25%. Other counties, Morgan County does something a little different. Oconee County does something a little different. Everybody, can kind of work that out ever how they want to work it out, what works best for the county. At that point, once you get to knowing that number, there are more forms to fill out, and then it goes up to the state level. Then it becomes competitive. Each farm is competing with every other farm that has applied in the state of Georgia. There's a series of ranking questions. Just to make things easier, Carroll County ranks their farms also in this program, and we use those same ranking questions. The ranking questions are the same for every piece of property in the entire country. Some of the questions are based on your population. How does your population stack up with the state of Georgia? How fast are you growing? Several of the questions are based on your census. For example, right now it's the difference between your 2017 census and your 2022 census. Each question has a number value, and at the state level, it goes into a computer that does this little algorithm thing, and then it re-ranks all the applications by number. Then your state conservationist goes to the federal government and says, we need this much money to fund the conservation easements, all these farms. And sometimes we get it all, and sometimes we don't. So when they don't get enough money, then they use that ranking for who is going to get the money first. Then they come back to the county and say, guess what? Your farm made it. Now we need to work towards the closing process, which is another set of paperwork. The full appraisal gets done then. In the beginning, it's just sort of a overview appraisal. Then the full appraisal gets done, which is about 200 pages long. And a baseline documentation is done, and that is simply the condition of the property at the time this is going on. There are some ins and outs about that process. Let's say a farmer wants to have a building envelope. He wants to build a house, or his child wants to build a house. He can carve out building envelopes. Carroll County only allows one 1-acre building envelope for every 50 acres being submitted. That is something every board works out for themselves, how much they want to do. Large building envelopes are a little frowned upon, though, because the whole purpose of this program is to protect grassland, pasture land, some timber. Timber is kind of limited in this program. A parcel can only have 2/3 timber or forested area. But what they're after is your pasture land, your grassland, row cropping, active agriculture. So we get all of that done, and the reason I'm telling you all these details is this program is not quick. It can take up to 3 years from start to finish. Because of COVID, we're actually into the 4th year on one of them right now that we're getting ready to close. But it's a long program, and we explain that to our farmers. You've got to be in this for the long haul. For example, our application for 2026, we started last year. So we start 2 years in advance of the actual fiscal year that it's even going to go into the hopper to be ranked by the state. But it is a great program. It has been very successful, and it provides for the farmer a number of things. If a farmer has more than one child, which we see this particular scenario often, maybe he has 3 children and only one wants to continue the farm, well, how are you fair? How do you give that child the farm and not leave anything for the other children? Well, in some instances, having this cash influx at the end of the day has helped solve that problem. It's also helped farmers regenerate their farm. Maybe they need new equipment. Maybe they need health insurance. You know, we even had one person who said, I can afford health insurance now. That's something our state is working on for our farmers, is good health insurance. But the program is also, there's some things that it's not. We get this all the time. The federal government's going to tell me what I can do on my land. Not the case. There are some things that they say that you can't do, like you can't build an apartment complex, and you can't stop up the water, and you know there are things like that. But the goal of these programs is to keep that land into active agriculture. There is a deed that goes with it. It's 17 to 21 pages long. A lot of it is just a lot of legalese. It just has to be in there. But each one has a section that's tailored specifically to that farm. For example, people can continue to hunt. They can lease the land. They can sell the land. It is still theirs. The government does not own any piece of this property. It still belongs to that farmer. He can have agritourism, which we know, I've seen a lot of agritourism signs coming up here. This is one of the newest, best added value things for farmers in Georgia. As far as houses, they have to be in the building envelope. However, agricultural structures don't have to be. You are permitted to build agricultural structures, equipment storage, hay barns, pole barns, whatever you need to make your farm work. So it's not really we're going to come in and tell you what to do. The farms do get monitored annually. That is a requirement. In Carroll County, I'm the one that monitors our farms, and I just go out, have a visit, see what's going on with the farm, see if they have any questions. I take pictures to prove that there's no hotel in the middle of the pasture, and there's, just those kind of things. And we turn the report in every year. We've never, in 12 years, we've never had any violation of any of these because these people want to farm. But that's sort of in a nutshell, and I know that's a lot of information because it is a very complicated program when you get right down to it. But that is what the program does. A little bit of cash influx, and then the farm is protected forever and ever. This also makes it very appealing if that farmer doesn't have children who want to farm. It keeps the farm affordable for new young farmers. The number one challenge our young farmers, and we're seeing a rise in young farmers in the state of Georgia, their number one challenge is accessing land and then paying for it. So we had 3 of our conservation easements have sold in Carroll County, and the most recent one, the young man said, I could have never afforded this if it had not been conservation. Now, as time goes on, that land is going to continue to gain value. All it has lost is its development rights. It won't ever be a Walmart. It won't ever be a data center. It won't ever be a subdivision. It will always remain agricultural land. And I know y'all probably have lots of questions, but I put my name and phone number and everything on one of the pieces of paper. But I encourage you to look through the documents at your leisure. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, call me. I'm happy to come back. Y'all are happy to welcome to come to Carroll County and see some of our conservation work. We're really proud of what we've accomplished and love to share.
Thank you so much.
I thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Public hearing, action on zoning matters. Item number 1 has been withdrawn. Oh, and number 2. Items 1 and 2 have been withdrawn. So item number 3, Mr. Scott.
Item number 3.
Glad to see you back, young man.
Glad to be back. Brandon Baring is requesting to rezone his 7.53 acres from A1 to AR to allow an accessory dwelling unit on the property for a family member. The property is located at 270 Stella Hanley Road in Danielsville on map 37, parcel 105B in District 2. Mr. Byron Whitley spoke in favor of the request. No one came forward in opposition. After much discussion, the planning and zoning voted 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Branning, or Mr. Whitley, I'm sorry, Mr. Branning?
Yes,
Is
sir.
there anything you'd like to add to that, sir, or are you comfortable with that presentation?
Just
Sure, come on. You're welcome to.
just to add in my reason for doing this, I'm building an agricultural barn right now. Like I previously stated, the reason I want to put a smaller dwelling in that barn, my mother resides in New Jersey with my stepfather's fallen severely ill. Everything I've done with this ag building, I've been bragging to everybody, I've kept it local, all the trees I've cut. I'm not just sending them to timber, I've got my mill and another gentleman who's a local sawyer. The fence you can see along my property, I was out there in the pound of rain in the dark with a headlamp, using my own wood, build my own fence, build my own place. So I'm just asking for y'all to take into consideration. I'm not developing anything. It's gonna have gorgeous horses out there. My mother-in-law bought the property next to me. We're gonna it's gonna be beautiful. I just gotta get my mom down here.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move this rezone request be approved as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kirk. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, item number 4, Michael Herring is requesting to rezone his 8.20 acres from A2 to AR to split the property into 2 equal tracts of 4.10 acres each to retain one and give to his daughter the other. The property is located at 788 Racetrack Road in Danielsville, map 67, parcel 013-D4 in District 2. During the public hearing, no one came forward for or against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning voted 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Herring,
Yes, sir.
are you comfortable with that presentation, or would you like to add anything to it?
No, I thought that was great. I appreciate y'all's consideration, and, we're just trying to get my kids set up for the future and their family. So that's what it's all about. And we got the land, and you guys told us we need to split it in half. Whatever the county needs, we're gonna do. So, yes, I'm very happy with that presentation. Yes, sir.
All right, thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
All right.
Is anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move this rezone request be approved as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Chandler.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 5, Byron Whitley, applicant for Jesse Kim, is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of his 7 acres from AR to A2 to be split and combined with adjoining property 0038/031C, and the remaining 5 acres will stay in the AR zone. The property is located at 2771 Friendship Church Road in Danielsville, map 38, parcel 031B in District 2. During the public hearing, Mr. Justin Whitley spoke in favor of the request. No one spoke in opposition. Public hearing was closed and the planning and zoning recommended 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir.
Did you take 5 and 6 up together?
No.
You did not? Okay.
All right. Mr. Whitley, are you comfortable with that presentation, sir? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move this rezone request be approved as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
With the intent of being a combination of the.
Correct. Yeah.
Commissioner May.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, going back to the attorney's question, we did not take those up as one. Mr. Who was not in attendance. So therefore, we took it up, we carried through as normal, during the public hearing and all that, and since the two were actually combined, after we realized that, then, the planning and zoning voted 4-0 to actually recommend approval, even though Mr. Wu was not present.
You're talking about number 6 now.
Number 6.
Okay.
Number 6.
All right. So I'll take that as a statement, that's fine. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move this rezone request be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Is the binding combination part of it?
Correct.
Commissioner Kirk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda items 7 and 8 were taken up as one vote. Jason and Christy Sarton are requesting a dual rezone for their 25 acres. They want to rezone a 4-acre portion from A1 to AR to split and to rezone the remaining 21 acres from A1 to A2 to bring in compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 380 Sanford Nicholson Road in Nicholson on map 0016, parcel 143 in District 1. They are also requesting a variance to allow the proposed 4-acre tract to be accessed with only 23.66 feet of road frontage, resulting in a 126.34 foot deficit. The property is located at 380 Sanford Nicholson Road in Nicholson on map 16, parcel 143 in District 1. No one came forward for this rezone request, and no one came forward in opposition. This was pretty complicated as to whether they want to do it, but after the end of the discussion and many questions, the planning and zoning voted 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Jason or Christie, either one? Are you comfortable with that presentation, or is there anything you'd like to add?
I am. I might want to explain the driveway.
All right.
When we bought this from her mom and dad, her granddad pinned that driveway in 1916. You know, 23.5 feet was plenty big enough then. And we've had full-size tractor trailers coming in there with trusses and everything else because we're building a house. And somebody asked about coming in on the back of the property, but we've got the 30-foot easement on the other side, but between there is like swampland and stuff, so we'd have to build a bridge to get across from the backside, but that's really it. It's just all family land, been in her family for forever, and
Said he pinned it in when?
1916. That's when Tommy Paul said that was the last time he could find a survey. So
That might have been when Tommy was born.
That's why
He's a good guy.
That's why he's got so much money.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So that's it. That was it.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, and gentlemen, I'd entertain a motion, and we can take up 7 and 8 if you're comfortable in the same motion.
I'll make a motion that items 7 and 8 be approved as stated.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Adams. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kurt. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. I'm sorry.
Does staff have any concern with the driveway? I realize it's been there for a while, but is any other concerns that we know of? That's what gives me pause, but.
Yeah, I actually remember speaking to Tracy and them about this, and you know, it's one of those situations that was created in 1916. Granted, we can follow the ordinance. If so, it's just going to end up with a landlocked parcel. Staff said that they were comfortable with whatever the Board of Commissioners said. They understand the ordinance clearly, but also understand the Board of Commissioners has the power to override.
I think this is the only road access this parcel has. That width is the only road access it has. So they're not creating a new driveway entrance or lessening what's already there.
Eddie, do you have any concerns on this?
Do not.
All right.
Let me, because I'm very familiar with the property, though, to go in the other direction to access the property would be an extensive amount of work through a wetland. So it just wouldn't, financially, it doesn't make sense to do that. And there's been concerns of this becoming a flag pole lot. The area that's 23 foot is probably 100 foot, and then it blows out there. So it's not, I really don't have any reservations about it.
All right. If there's no other discussion, Commissioner Doster, it's on you, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
All right, items 9, 10, and 11. All taken up in one vote.
Man, this one throws me for a loop, buddy.
Yeah, this is-
I read it twice.
This is,
It's not this complicated.
this is
Usually not.
pretty difficult to understand if you must read one time.
So,
Anyway,
gentlemen, before he even explains this, Christina put it best. We're changing 4 things, but we ain't really changing anything other than interior boundary lines. But when I first read it, I thought, how could you complicate this more? But turns out, after I looked at it with one eye closed, it was actually pretty simple, so.
all right, Tammy Silvers is requesting a dual rezone for her 20 acres. She wants to rezone a 5.416 acre portion from A1 to AR to split and combine with additional acreages for a new tract. She wants to rezone a 2.162 acre portion from A1 to A2 to split and combine into adjoining property, 0009/052, and to rezone the remaining 12.453 acres from A1 to A2 to bring compliance with zoning regulations. The property is located at 3235 Chatham Down Road in Danielsville, map 009, parcel 43, District 2. She's also requesting to rezone her 5.43 acres from A2 to AR to allow a 0.998 acre portion to be split and to combine into 5.416 acres and to bring the remaining 4.86 acres into compliance as an individual tract. The property is located at 0 Chatham Down Road in Danielsville, map 009, parcel 04501 in District 2. She's also requesting to rezone a 0.27 acre portion from A2 to AR to split and combine with additional acreage for a new tract. She also wants to rezone another 0.452 acre portion from A1 to AR to split and combining adjoining property 0009/045-01. The remaining acreage will stay in the A2 zone to be combined into the adjoining properties 009/052. The property is located at 0 Chatham Down Road in Danielsville on map 9, parcel 44 in District 2. There was no one for or in opposition. And you can imagine there was a lot of discussion, a lot of questions as to how we put all this together. But in the end, after much discussion, the planning and zoning voted 4-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Silvers, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I agree with what he said.
I don't think we could do any better than what he did.
That would have been a P and Z meeting I wished I would have attended, just to hear that one.
I do want to add, I did talk to P and Z, and I'm like, why didn't they just cut the line like they did? But from my understanding, there's a fence. If y'all are trying to follow a fence line, so that's why there's so little. They're moving here, shifting there. There's existing.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Following new,
Yeah.
with, about 8 years ago, we did a lot of new cross fencing. So we're following those fence lines, and doing that, we're freeing up the little, there's a little bitty tract that's landlocked right now, and this there won't be any land, no, none of it will be landlocked.
I'm glad y'all figured it out.
Yes,
That being said, anyone here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, and gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we consider number 9, 10, and 11 all together, and that all three of these be approved as presented and stated.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler for combination of 9, 10, and 11. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Allen. Gentlemen, any discussion?
Yes, I want to be there when the surveyor does this. I just want to see.
I think Mr. Ward's done it.
I've already done it, and I done paid them a lot.
But, all right, gentlemen, any other questions? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How many times do you have to explain that to Barry?
I mean, I was up there for a few minutes.
All right, last one of the evening, item number 12. I apologize if I mispronounced Myers Davison, applicant for Julie Lynn and Roger Hart, is requesting a dual rezone for their 20.19 acre from A2 to B, with the conditions that the use of the property be limited to storage of material and equipment used for the ag business, including but not limited to construction and repair of poultry and stack houses. Property is located at 1592 Wildcat Bridge Road, Royston, map 87, parcel 009-81 in District 4. This particular one, there was much discussion as to changing it from to B. There was a recommendation made that and I'll just read it, voted to recommend this use to be allowed as a conditional use, rather than rezone it to be, just change it to a conditional use under section 7.2.2.16 of the Madison County zoning ordinance, with the conditional use being limited to the storage of material and equipment used for agricultural business, including but not limited to the construction and repair of poultry houses and stack houses. Planning and zoning voted 4-0 to approve this as a conditional use rather than changing it to a B zone. There was no one came forward for this or in opposition to.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lund, or are you representing?
I'm here from Mr. Davison's office.
That's fine.
I can just speak a little bit on it. So, we met with, Mr. Pruitt and some members of the Planning and Zoning Board and discussed our options, and we came down to the two options, the application you see in front of you and the conditional use. Ultimately, we decided to go with the rezoning request from A2 to AR and business, splitting that up into a 5-ish acre parcel and a 15-acre parcel. When we actually came before Planning and Zoning, it seems that the decision had changed a little bit and it made more sense to go with the conditional use route. Ultimately, the property immediately south and touching that piece of property is owned and used by Lionheart Construction to operate that business. And sometimes they have overflow lumber that they need to keep out of the elements. And so they have 2 barns constructed on that piece of property that belongs to Julia Lunn and Roger Hart, who are the owners of Lionheart Construction. So they want to be able to use those newly constructed barns to store that overflow lumber, as well as that 15-acre parcel. They have a retention pond and a field that if they wanted to, say, have horses or goats, or they want to fish in their pond, they want to be able to use that land in a manner that's consistent with agricultural use, but also for overflow storage of their business from time to time. And that's where that condition came from, the storage of materials and equipment used for ag business, including but not limited to the construction and repair of poultry and stack houses. So that was kind of the brainchild of myself and Mr. Pruitt when we were sitting around that table discussing with planning and zoning, was a way that we can achieve the goals of the county to allow this land to be used in a manner that's consistent with your growth and development, but also allow Lionheart Construction to do the business that they do in support of those agricultural industries that Madison County thrives from.
All right, thank you. Mr. Pruitt, I guess you can come up in a second. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this rezone request? I said Mr. Pruitt, I'm sorry. Mr. Pritchett, do you have something you need to say about this?
We just had we did have a discussion, the staff, and we had originally thought this was the way to go, in rezoning it and going partial of business. But I understand that the P&Z board had a different take on it. I have no preference, whatever the board wants to go with it, I'm good with it either way. So.
All right. So if there's no opposition, no in favor, we'll close the floor and bring it back before the board. And I probably should have went to the P&Z meeting. I'm a little confused on this, just personally, because I've been part of this since day one. I understand the condition perfectly well, and it would work that way. My concern is if there's a business on the right and a business on the left, why wouldn't we just rezone the business and we take care of the problem? And the reason is, in the future, tracking that condition as a conditional use, you're stating for Lionheart Construction conditional use, but if Lionheart Construction leases any of those structures to anyone else to use, for their business storage, it would be outside of that, because from my understanding at the beginning is one of those structures is being leased by the other business. So to clear up any clouded potential controversy, if you just zoned the business, it wouldn't matter. Well, the condition would actually stop you.
Can I say something?
I don't,
Can I answer that?
yes,
The condition's the same either way.
okay.
The condition is, let me find it here, limited to storage of materials and equipment used for agricultural business, including but not limited to construction and repair of poultry houses and stack houses. It doesn't matter which business or who owns the business, it would just be storage of materials for that purpose and that purpose only.
So,
I never did understand the business. I'll give the background to this. I had talked to Mr. Davidson, we had talked to court. It seemed that this conditional use overlay on the A2 zone fit very well. I showed up at a staff meeting with Mr. Davidson and Ms. Cohen and Captain Cohen, also a captain in the U.S. Army.
oh, really? Well, thank you.
And so the recommendation was B. I was surprised by that. It didn't make sense to me that you would rezone it to B with that limitation, because then it would no longer, this is a 15-acre tract, or actually now a 20-acre tract, you'd be splitting off 15, and zoning it B with only that, which means it's no longer A2 and can't be used for those agricultural purposes that are permitted in A2. It seemed to be a much better fit to me, again, with the conditional use of 72216.
So, just help me understand, please, because maybe I don't know. I have a business on the right and a business on the left, and we're gonna ask for a conditional use to mask a business instead of putting in its correct zone. Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Pruitt, am I reading this correctly? The amendment that we added to the ordinance on, year 21, this actually is an allowed use in the, under item 7.2.2.16, it would be an allowed use, but what we're doing is we're putting a condition on the allowed use. We're not actually conditioning it.
No, so you have permitted, in every zone classification, you have permitted uses and conditional uses. Special uses let's call it a special use.
So what you're saying is the storage component of it would.
The storage component is a condition on the special use.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, so that's right. So the special use is allowed, and we condition it that it can only be this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, sir, that's right.
And then that allows the applicant wish to continue to use the balance of the portion property as an agricultural use, that would allow that to continue.
So if you wanted this area to become business, then what the chairman's saying would make sense.
Correct.
But that's not in your comprehensive plan.
Right.
Well, it's not, it just fits the character area.
No, character areas are what your comprehensive plan creates, and this is in the rural conservation character area.
All I'm saying.
This is where A2 is better.
All I'm saying is I've got a business on the right and a business on the left, and I'm fixing to put a conditional use in the middle of the right and the left to mask it being an ag use. And if I rent those storage buildings out for other people's businesses to store lumber in, including myself and my personal lumber, it is a business.
So is your idea that this would be a business node, and that it would be open for any
It's already a business node.
and it would be open for any and all business uses, and would not be capable, and would not be allowed for A2 uses?
Well, it can be allowed for A2 because you got Gray Bells right there, which is a business, or was a business, it's still something. And then you got the hardware store.
I'm just talking about this particular property, so if you zone it business, then it can't have horses, it can't have cattle.
Is this property fenced in, this 15 acres? There's nothing on this property, it's just a field.
Well, there is something on the property, but then there's a fence boundary around that total 20 acres, yes, there is.
But what animals is on here?
None right now.
There's none on there right now.
There's never been any on this.
That's what you want.
But I'm saying you can open it up wherever you want to.
I look at it this way, in our comprehensive plan, it is designated as an agricultural type area. So therefore, keeping it with the A2 with the special condition makes sense to me, because I'm not looking at the sins of the past, if you would, to quantify or qualify today's decision. To me, it's, we've got two situations, you know, what was there, but looking forward, and the community area that it needs to be, or that we want it to be, i.e., you know, we're not creating a business park out there, so it makes sense with the recommendation of, to me, the recommendation is the commission that the A2 is a special use.
It makes sense to the district board commission too.
I don't get a vote. There's 6 parcels on a road front of a state highway, and 4 of the 6 is on business now, so we can call it whatever you want. So, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that it remain the A2 and that we give it a conditional use permit as allowed in whatever
A conditional use permit, further condition to this language, and I think you have it, Christina, limited to storage of materials and equipment used for agricultural businesses, including but not limited to construction and repair of poultry houses and stack houses.
Yeah.
I do want to clarify, we talked a little bit about special use permit and what's allowed. So are we approving a special use permit with the condition of the limitation of storage? Okay.
Yes.
I'm making sure I word that correctly.
So it don't matter who stores the materials.
Right, that's all they can do.
So if I want to build a warehouse on it, I can. I can rent their place for a warehouse. I could rent one of their buildings for a warehouse.
No.
Because that's what's happening now. That's what I'm saying.
If you're storing,
If they've got a structure, I should be able to rent that structure for storage. And that's
for
what's happening
storage
today.
limited to, for storage of materials and equipment used for agricultural business, yes, you could do that.
As long as I'm selling John Deere tractors, I can use it for storage. I can rent it from them to store my tractors in and sell parts out of it. Because that's what's happening today.
No, a further part of that, okay, well, I don't know what, okay, I'm sorry.
Eddie, please come forward. One of those buildings back there.
Brian, you want to make a motion?
I didn't make a motion.
We have a second.
No, we don't have a second.
Second motion.
Okay.
We'll go
Now,
first,
now we're in discussion. Come forward. We have a building that's on that property today, that has material in it, that's being leased to another business that don't have anything to do with poultry houses.
There is one, the primary building, the first building on there is on the commercial property, and that parcel is zoned commercial. The other 2 buildings are being used the same as the first building to store materials in. Building materials, they're offloaded with a forklift from a truck. Pallets of OSB and 2x4s, the buildings are full, and those are 4,000 plus square foot buildings.
Yeah, then are those, as best of our knowledge, all that's used in agricultural buildings, right?
To the best, I mean, from what we're told.
But when it was presented to us the first,
Well,
It don't make any
initially,
difference when it was presented to the first
it
time.
was, because it was told to us that we were going to rent those buildings out.
What point are we trying to make here?
I'm trying to say that these buildings will be rented out for any particular use, and when you open this condition up, you open that condition up for anybody to rent those buildings.
so the reservations we had in the beginning were that this was
Yes.
on a business parcel, and that initially, she had come in to do a rezone and was actually going to do this and rezone this property business.
Correct.
For that reason.
That's exactly the intent.
If you take that take, I'm just gonna say this, if you take that take on it, you go up right around District 4, check it, and you go check every building, you're gonna find out some of the same stuff occurs in some of that stuff.
Correct, but we're trying
Yeah.
to correct
I know
the
we're
mistakes,
trying, but
not
I'm
add
just
to
saying,
it.
in this case, this, I think that it makes it tight enough. Now, that's my,
All right, I have a motion and a second. Never mind, sit down. It don't matter what we discussed.
I wish I'd known this before I got here, I'm sorry.
Well, in our first sit down, when this was going to be B, they come to us with a B. They breached CUBA, which they knew they were breaching CUBA. They paid the fine because they wanted to rezone it to a B zone. And then all of a sudden, we didn't want to rezone it to a B zone. So we asked, what are you going to do with the buildings? And they said, well, we may store our stuff in it. Or I said, well, what about the storage company? And they said, well, we may lease that out to them. We'll lease them, so they can,
Storage company?
the mini storage building. They said they may lease that building. We want our option to be able to lease that.
Well,
Where's all this information at? I mean, I've never.
I'm trying to explain it to y'all before you vote.
Nobody ever explained it before now, though. The applicant's right here, explain what their application, yeah. We're making this way.
I believe all this information is in the original letter of intent.
It was,
presented to
every bit of it,
the board.
and the emails we sent 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Well, and I asked about what was being done, and, I'm a little bit miffed, because I never heard anything else from y'all until this comes up on
What
the
was the
agenda.
letter of intent? What did the letter of intent say?
I don't have a copy of it, but it did reference the type of businesses. This
You know,
was when the
it's,
original,
I'm just being honest.
when she originally came in to rezone it, she was rezoning to business and possibly adding, I believe, other structures and leasing them out. I believe that was in
That's the intent. That was in the letter of intent.
Yes.
So with the negotiation between the
Letter of intent to rezone, that wasn't part of it, that must have been before I was involved, because I don't know what you're talking about now.
I think Tracy showed you that letter of intent when we had our meeting in Todd's office.
Okay, what was that letter of intent submitted in conjunction with?
I mean, that was what she was going, when she was gonna rezone the property initially. She paid
When was that?
earlier this year, beginning of the year.
I know there was a plat recorded that's
And
split into a 5 and a 15, and then they were recombined, is that right?
it was split. She had initially was gonna rezone part of it to business. She submitted a letter of intent.
Oh, and that was withdrawn?
Correct, that was withdrawn.
Okay.
But after, she'd already, when this was presented, she actually paid her, CUBA penalty and all, and then
And she
she went
wouldn't have
back
to
to
do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this kind of brought about the reservation.
So what's in front of you now would not permit that. Do we all understand that? So I think what you're suggesting is it should be denied because you don't believe that this condition will be enforced.
That was not the intent of the condition originally.
Correct.
So now granted, we're okay if we approve it, but the applicant will need to know that she cannot lease those buildings to other businesses for whatever purpose. This is for her
Right.
business.
Well, no, it doesn't matter who does it, but it's for this purpose. It's for storage of materials used in agriculture, agribusiness support services as allowed by
Correct.
the special use permit.
Correct.
It's not to store
Whatever. That's my whole argument right there, because that was not what was presented us
So
originally.
what she and her attorney, through her attorney, she's asking for now is not to do all those things that were in that original application.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so.
Then we're good.
So we know there's not gonna be any offices or anything like that in these two buildings, correct?
Can't be.
No.
Okay.
Yep, with these conditions, it can't.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, any other discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Champ?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
All right. Motion carried. Old business, discuss intergovernmental agreement with, cities for animal control and code enforcement.
So there's a few things we wanted to discuss. I know the last time we discussed this with the city of Carlton, they were kind of directed to do a few things. There's been some more conversations with Mr. Pruitt and Judge Patton. I think, has Judge Patton reached out to you with some stuff on?
Now, here's where this stands. The city, this is about, Carlton, so Carlton is asking the county to do, they don't have their own municipal court, or at least originally as it started, they didn't have their own municipal court and they didn't have code enforcement. So they had asked for, is it animal control or?
Yes, that's for animal control.
So for animal control for Carlton. So we have done that in the past, I think, with at least one other city, where the So to solve the enforcement part is easy. If your enforcement people say they have time to do the city's enforcement, the city's willing to adopt an animal control ordinance that's identical to the county's, so they don't have to deal with two different sets of laws, then that's fine. You can approve that, city council approves it, and that part's there, but then you need a court to enforce it in. There is a statute, a set of statutes that allows a city and a county to, with the magistrate judge's consent, for the magistrate's court to serve as municipal court. Judge Patton very sharply raised the concern on that in the municipal court section of the code, official code of Georgia, it says that municipal court judges, unlike magistrate court judges, have to be licensed attorneys now. That's been in place since 2011. I don't know if, so then it was suggested after that, well, he could hear it as a magistrate court, not as a municipal court. I don't know of anything, I mean, I read the magistrate court jurisdiction statute. It gives the magistrate court jurisdiction of violations in the county, unincorporated county, but not in the city. So I have thrown all this back in the city attorney's lap and said, if you're comfortable, if you think it's enforceable in magistrate court, that's your city's risk. We can go with that suggestion. Or if he can determine, and I think this would be a very good argument since there are two different sections of the code, that where the magistrate court is acting as municipal court, that requirement of being a licensed attorney does not apply. But again, I've thrown both of those in his lap. I have not heard back from him yet.
I have also spoken with Judge Patton. He's kind of called and followed up, and we touched base a few weeks ago. He's ready to move forward with all the cities for animal control. We previously had animal control with all the cities, and we stopped that, I don't know, a year and a half ago due to being short-staffed. So I think that was kind of just him giving his blessing on he'd like to move forward, however that looks.
Well, we still have to answer these questions.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying Judge Patton's ready to move forward. That's his answer.
He has the capacity in his court to handle it if we can figure out the solution. Now, the other overlay on that is that cities could each have their own municipal court judges. But Mr. Pritchett's pointed out, and this is certainly an excellent point, that we have 6 cities, and he will have his people running 6 different little towns all over the county to prosecute these cases, which is not workable for his workforce.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
In the field.
Yeah, so we've also talked about the financial side of this, and we're going to have to, there's going to have to be an annual fee for us to do this if the county does it. And I get the fact that they pay county tax too, but we're going to have to expand the services that we have. Our kennels won't be big enough to house enough, because the cities has the majority of the dogs and the dog calls. We understand that. So our kennels is probably going to double. So myself and Mr. Pritchett was talking about putting a flat fee that the cities would contribute back to the county's general fund to offset the cost of either building additional kennels and or additional staff and or additional vehicles to be able to provide that service.
And I'm sorry, I forgot. Eddie did tell me that, and I forgot to mention it, but I told Eddie that would be perfectly fine to put that in the IGA.
So we're probably going to come up with a number before we get it to you guys to vote on. I just wanted you all to be aware of it. We're talking somewhere probably between $3,000 and $5,000 a year.
Per city.
Per city.
Per city.
Per agreement. And each agreement will be separate.
That's right.
We've also talked about adding solid waste to that, and that fee would be separated too.
And the reason is because we may have to hold a dog up to 10 or 15 days, and the time you feed a dog for a couple of weeks, you've done incurred $25, $30, $35, $40 worth of food into that dog bill times how many dogs per year. So $3,000 or $4,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 is not going to be an unreasonable amount for a city that wants to have that service offered to them. I think the cities will be more than happy for that. Because it's better than what they got.
But the intent would be that the cities are not going to pick and choose whether they want to participate.
Oh, no.
It's all the cities or it's none of the cities.
Oh, no. No, they can do individual agreements.
Yeah.
That would be up to y'all if you want to allow them to.
Yeah, I mean, because there's going to be 6 individual agreements. if Hull decides to want in, even though they're way smaller than Comer's population, then we'll take into consideration that. But we get to choose, the Board of Commissioners get to choose who they want to enter into an agreement with.
And if
But
we
you
do
don't want
this,
one that fits all, because the municipality.
if we do this too, we talked about grouping in code enforcement as far as solid waste and tires,
Yeah.
that type thing, with this too.
Yeah, because we're already there. So let us develop this a little bit further, wouldn't you think, Eddie? And get y'all a rough draft.
May I ask the question then, like Carlton, Eddie, who does their building permits?
They do. Right, at this point, Carlton is the only city we don't inspect in.
They're the only one.
Correct. And with building, the county, gets the fees for the permits, so that offsets the cost of building, looking at building inspections in the cities. But with code and animal control, there is nothing, the fines are minimal.
Okay.
Do we have a read on any of the other municipalities we participate in?
Yeah, they're all waiting on us.
Okay, and I mean, and that's fine, I guess where I'm going is I understand that they can opt in if you would, but I guess my question is, looking at this holistically, that this is our, I'm gonna say, program, it might cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, you can't say one city's bigger than the other. You might have, one city might have bad dogs versus somebody have good dogs, so it's just a matter of time, space, and resources. And what I don't wanna do, I guess in my mind, would be have to negotiate 6 individuals. Right. It's like, this is what we're doing. If you wanna get in, this is how we're doing it. If you don't, have fun.
So the last time, I met with all the mayors when we discussed BOS back in the beginning of May, all the cities were there except for Culver, and we actually did talk about animal control. So I explained to them where we were, where we're at now, and they're all ready to move forward. So.
Yeah, what I was talking about with Hull and Comer a minute ago really wasn't about price differential. It's just part, one may want in, one may not. They couldn't afford it. Mm-hmm. But, all right, so we'll fine tune that and get it back before you. All right, gentlemen, new business, discuss amending zoning ordinance definition for livestock in order to come into compliance with the state regulations. About 5:26 today, we got, Mike, you probably was driving, CPL's latest version come
Oh, I did
late.
say, I was check my email when I got here.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it is in there.
Livestock and auction barns are listed as a special use permit.
Correct.
It does include the terminology of poultry, that is one of the recommendations. I don't know how long the adoption process is gonna be for that, so this option of amending the ordinance may be a quicker turnaround, because that would be up to the board and how you'll.
Right.
This is probably going to be
Interesting, I'm glad I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Yeah.
So both are special, are conditional or special uses.
Yes, yeah, so they still, it
So
still
this
has to
would-
come before the board.
This wouldn't achieve the desired result under the new ordinance, only under
No.
the existing one.
Yeah, this is only work for the existing ordinance, yeah. So the new ordinance, they would still have to come in, just for livestock sales, auction barns, both altogether.
Yeah.
It's a special use that have to come before the board.
Yeah.
But they are allowed in those A1 and A2 zones.
But what we don't know at this point is if we're gonna like their proposal well enough to adopt it, period.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's why this is the faster route, even though it may change again.
Well, plus, if you do, and
This is a 60-day
when
route.
it changes again,
Maybe 90
so this is, I mean, everybody knows why this is on the agenda, right? This is related to 1 and 2, this is why 1 and 2 were withdrawn.
Yeah.
So if you make this text amendment, Mr. Hightower starts selling poultry as a permitted use under livestock pavilion, that'll actually already be, then you adopt CPL, it'll be grandfathered.
Right.
Correct. He'll have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you read the state law or ordinance, it would almost seem like that poultry was simply just left out of our ordinance.
Well, it depends. As I said in the, look for my email, I sent them that. This is what I said. So the definition in OCGA 4-4-1.1 that includes poultry, the definition of livestock, is in Chapter 4 of Title 4, which is prevention and control of disease in livestock. I don't know if livestock is defined differently for other purposes in other places or not. So that's the statute we're looking at.
So if gentlemen, if you want to move forward with discussion of, the amendment to this, then we'll need to get, Tracy Patrick to put it on the P&Z to review, so then it'll go through its process of advertisement, and
Mr.
then we'll start our advertisement.
Do you need the board to vote to that, or can you just have a consensus for the P&C board to move forward with that?
You know, it's never been very formal before.
Okay.
It's already.
I mean, in the ordinance, it's called a board-initiated rezone. The applicant will be shown as Board of Commissioners. I think the vote's probably the better way to do that.
Okay. So gentlemen, I entertain a motion to moving forward with placing the, zoning definition for livestock, compliant state regulations, OCGA 4411.
I move that we proceed with the process of considering altering our current definition of ordinance from livestock to what it currently is to match with state regulation OCGA 4-4-1.1.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Channel. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Abbott. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Channel, it's on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Just for clarity, because there were some questions about this earlier, the rezone that was withdrew, they could have went, no, they couldn't have been. They can still operate as a sale barn today, you just can't sell poultry. Okay. All right. Item number 7, urgent matters, none. Executive.
I'm going to call it urgent. Just a question, Christina talked about this moment. We mentioned Mr. Pruitt's presence. What kind of correspondence or did you get information that Bart Thompson issue that I mentioned to you last Friday?
Okay, yes.
Let me bring Mr. Pruitt up to speed. Had a call from a fellow over in Iowa, district line. He has 5-acre parcel and has a 2021 manufactured home on it. In considering the possibility of refinancing, his potential lender calls our county office, our evaluation office, and the information they give, they call it a mobile home. And the lenders will not touch it because mobile home, in their terminology, means pre-76. Although he has documents in his hands to state that it is what it is, but because on our records we call it mobile home, then that particular lender, maybe they're being particular on that, that particular lender wouldn't touch it. So the question brought up for his case, and then for all of us in general, are we being, as a county, are we being careful about that terminology? Should we, and if we should, are we calling everything post-1976 manufactured or modular housing as opposed to manufactured home? They're different. As opposed to mobile home.
Yes.
I'm wondering, is this going down that same rabbit hole we've been going down? With the legal?
That alludes to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did reach out to that office. I explained the situation, and the property owner also gave Robin Baker, the property owner's contact information. Robin was unfamiliar with this. He hasn't had this issue come before him before with mobile versus manufactured or refinancing companies having an issue. So I believe he reached out to Mr. Thompson, but I don't know what the result was.
Why would the tax assessor be involved?
Because the mortgage company.
The mortgage company called to verify what he has, and we call it mobile home, which.
We being.
We
The tax assessor's records?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what they do, but, for
At
purposes.
least on that piece, on that particular property.
In your zoning ordinance, you have a definition of manufactured home / mobile home / trailer, meaning all those terms mean a transportable, single-family structure defined by and constructed in accordance with National Manufactured Housing Construction and Safety Standards Act of 1974 as amended.
All the same thing.
Under state law, and I can tell you for all purposes, under state law, manufactured home means, something constructed under that federal law. Modular home means one constructed according to building codes, even if it's brought not, it doesn't have to be, it can be assembled.
It can be assembled.
Yeah, exactly, assembled on site, that's right.
Just brought in.
Mobile home has no meaning in the law. This was corrected, this definition was corrected after the county got in a ill-advised lawsuit over what is mobile versus modular. So that now we know mobile means manufactured.
Crank it in on wheels as long as they lift it up, set it on a foundation without wheels. So do we need to change our terminology here?
It's very clear right here in the zoning
Most
ordinance.
times it's right, but you just need the definitions.
Yeah.
So what we're hearing is, it brought to mind Eddie's attention the other day, seller lot says they're having a problem getting modular homes financed because somewhere in our ordinance it don't say you're allowed to have modular homes.
Well, that's just impossible.
Yeah, I know.
And it does not say that, that was part of
But
that law.
this was what the lenders is telling them, am I correct, Eddie?
Correct.
The lenders is saying they
Well,
can't do business in that.
I can give his lender a copy of our zoning ordinance, I cannot make them understand.
I've already seen it.
We've already seen it, yeah.
So our ordinance, we require them to be set up and have a permanent foundation, wheels and tongue removed, is it no longer mobile at that time?
That's got nothing to do with it. That's totally different.
Okay.
That's something that Robin does deal with, and that deals with whether the quote title is retired and it becomes taxed as real property rather than personal property. But that has nothing to do with our zoning definitions. Industrialized is actually the legal term for modular, or manufactured housing, the legal term.
So in this particular case, if the lender has a problem with the terminology, it's his problem, it's not ours. Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
And I did call around to other counties, and we do it the same way they do.
Okay.
sounds like to me, having dealt somewhat in this with the bank, their contact is wrong. Who this lender is sounds almost scam.
And I did have another scenario similar to this that came up in the same discussion. They had a county that allowed them, that previously had told them they could put a manufactured or modular home on a piece of property. And then when they actually went to apply for the permit, they got turned down because it turns out there was like 3 other homes on the property. We issue a pre-approval form through zoning when you come in first. So you come in, you look up the map and parcel, yes, you can put a home on that property, there's no other homes on the property, here you go. Next thing, you go to get your building permit and so on. So that's how we kind of.
And one thing the lender may be looking at is, from a lending perspective, that they may actually be looking at that retiring title part of it rather than the zoning ordinance part. And that's fine, if that's because if they want to take the land and the mobile home as collateral, if the title's been retired, then they can do that with just a normal security deed. If the title hasn't been retired, then they'll have to do a separate financing statement, file a UCC-1 to secure their interest, right, Brian?
That's right, and that's why there are very few folks, at least, and I guess it hasn't changed any, that will actually do quote-unquote mobile home. They they're gonna personally, you gotta take the wheels out from under,
Right.
cut it off and retire that thing. And that's what they would prefer.
No one other than people who have lived the life that Brian and I have for the last 35 years would know this, so you're welcome.
There you go.
So would it be appropriate for me to have him call you?
Hell no.
Okay.
But you can send in that code section with the.
So they already did send them those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, again, you can have him call Brian, but I don't think he wants to try to teach you
No,
any practices.
I don't
So,
understand.
I'm talking about the
him.
individual.
The lender,
I'm talking about the lender.
whatever, the lender can check all the numbers on there, what is it, the HUD numbers and whatever.
Yeah, the D, the HUD number and then
and all
the
that,
detail.
and know where how it's classified. That's why they're calling down here is, sounds like to me, somebody don't.
Somebody ain't done enough homework, they don't know who they're on.
That's right.
All right.
Lenders don't have people of Brian Kirk's qualities much anymore, in my experience.
Executive session to discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, potential litigation.
Eddie, can you hang around just a minute, and Mr. Pruitt have something else to prefer not to discuss? Recorded. This is not.
So no executive session, discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters. Commissioner Dawson.
Move adjourned.
Gotcha. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, a little rubber band. I got some orders.
Exactly.
Non-star.
Okay, well, I was.
No.
You don't want to hear it very long. What was Pruitt, don't leave?
It does not turn on.
Don't leave?
I see that.
Just cut off.
Just relax first.
We had quite a few special interests tonight.